Okay, good afternoon everybody. Hopefully you've been having a great day so far. Looks like the rain's gone away, sun's come back out, so it's great. We'll be able to do our demonstration this afternoon. What we're actually going to do is this little model mock-up here in front of you. We're going to set fire to this. So parents, if you can just make sure that the kids stay back behind the witches' hats so they're not too close. We don't want a gust of wind coming through and blowing something off that might hit them. So just make sure they stay behind those witches' hats for us. So what we've got here is our Bushfire Simulator. So it gives you a bit of a demonstration on how bushfire behaves. And what it does on this demonstration is exactly what it does out in the bush. So obviously the fire will be affected by the wind. So you'll notice whether the wind stays down or if it picks up, you'll notice a change in the fire. You'll also notice with the way we've set it up, we've got a nice steep hill here. And what you'll see as the fire burns is the fire will actually go a lot faster up the hill, and then it slows down when it goes down the other side. So the reason it does that, fire doubles in speed and intensity for every 10 degrees of slope. So basically what happens is the fire's leaning forward and it's preheating everything ahead of it much faster, so it ignites quicker and goes up the hill faster. When it comes down, it goes a bit slower. So that's not to say that a downhill fire is always slow, it's just a matter of that it's slower than what it would be if it was on flat ground. So there's a few things that you need to consider if you do live in a bush area. And how many of you do actually live near the bush? Put your hand up. Not too many of you. Well, even if you're visiting in a bushland area, it's these sort of things you should be aware of if you're travelling around out in the bush. If any of you do live near the bush, make sure you come and see our guys afterwards. We've got some great pamphlets for you which goes through the sort of things that you should take with you if you decide you're going to evacuate and not stay. And it gives you a good list of the sort of things you should have. Also, if you decide you're going to stay and defend your home, it gives you a great list of things that you should be considering, such as making sure that you're physically fit to do so and that you've got the right equipment, even down to the right clothing. There's no point trying to fight a fire if you're in singlets and thongs. Okay, so there's a lot to think about to make sure that you are prepared. Yeah, it also gives you a lot of pointers on how to prepare around your home. And that's one of the things we look at when we come around and there's a fire on. We look at what is actually defendable. If you have a house with bush all around it, totally covered in bush, and we look at it and go, well, this person's done no preparation, it's going to take 4 trucks to protect it, whereas those 4 trucks could be protecting 10 houses down the road. We're going to go and defend those 10 houses. So if a house is not defendable, we're not going to risk our lives to try and save it if the person hasn't made the effort to prepare the home in the first place. So it's important. So what are some of the things you think we might do to prepare around the home? Anyone? What would you do around the house to prepare the house for bushfire? You'd clear a buffer around the house, wouldn't you? So on our little demonstration table up here, we've got these little wood blocks to represent houses, and you'll see that some of them have got the bush all around it, and then there's some with some nice cleared buffer around them. Even things such as a rock wall but on the downhill side of the house can help and assist in deflecting a fire and the flames and heat from the house. So it doesn't mean you have to clear the whole countryside. It's about maintaining the fuel loads underneath. You can still have your scattered canopy trees around to give you that bush feeling around home, but it's making sure that you haven't got the fuels underneath that's going to support a large fire. So as the fire approaches, it reaches that fuel managed area and the fire reduces down to a point that by the time it gets to the house, you can put it out with a garden hose. The thing that we like to see and what we try and encourage people to do is to make sure that you're self-sufficient. Don't rely on a fire truck being there. In our brigade area, we've probably got somewhere around 2,500 homes to 3,000 homes. We have 4 trucks. We cannot put a truck at every house. On the Gold Coast as a whole, we've got roughly 52, 55 rural trucks on the Gold Coast. So obviously with those spread around, we're not going to be at every house. You need to try and be self-sufficient. So I'm going to light up our little fire here in a couple of spots, and we'll see how well it will burn. It'll take a little bit to get going, but you'll see once that it builds up, and when it starts heading up that hill, we'll get quite a decent sort of fire. You'll notice that we've got a little roadway here and there's a couple of cars on there. What's happened is, in this case, they've left it too late to evacuate. They've decided, oh yeah, we're going to stay. Oh no, hang on, no we're not. That fire's pretty big. But they've left it too late to evacuate. And what they've done is they've driven out and they've ended up in the smoke. And our first car's run into the power pole, blocked the road, everybody else is running into that, and then the fire comes through and takes everyone out. So because they left it too late, they've ended up caught on the road. So it's important that if you do decide you're going to evacuate, you need to make that decision early. Think about it before a fire even happens. Some of you might stay, some might go over to a relative's house or something. So it's something you need to consider. You can see which way our fire's tending to go. It's starting to try and push that way. That's obviously because we've got a little bit of a breeze blowing across here. You can see the fire's reached the bottom of our hill and it's starting to head up the hill. You can see how the fire's actually picking up now in speed and intensity and how fast that's actually travelling up the hill there. So you can see it's already hit our house here that's surrounded in bush, and it's come up that hill quite quickly compared to what it was doing on the surface there. Our slope here is probably about 20 degrees to 30 degrees. So you're looking at 30 degrees, it's travelling 8 times faster than what it is down here, because it doubles for every 10 degrees. Our house with the buffer around it's getting a little bit singed, and it's getting pretty hot and bothered and pretty warm, so if you were there defending it, you'd need to make sure you've got the right clothing and the right gear to do so. But ultimately, with having that buffer around it, it's going, and with a bit of protection, it's going to survive our bushfire. Whereas our other house over here in the bush, as you can see, is well alight. Yep. That's good. So you can see our fire's crossed over the top now, and it's starting to go back down the hill. So you can see how it's actually slowed down going back down the hill, because the flames are now leaning back. One of the things that if you've got a house up on the nice ridge line here so you can get your views, and you've got bush below you, you're at a much higher risk. Ideally for bushfire, you need to be building down at the base of the hills, but of course we all want views. If you decide you're going to stay with your house up on the ridgeline and try and defend it, one of the things you need to look out for is that whilst the fire might be coming up this way, you could get sparks that blow across, land over here, start another fire that comes up the other side of the hill. All of a sudden you've got fire on 2 sides of you coming at you at the same time, and that's not a very good place to be. It's something we certainly avoid as firefighters. Being caught between 2 fires, they draw into each other and intensify. So some of the things you would need to make sure you do have if you're going to stay and defend your home is make sure you've got adequate water supply. Most new houses now in rural areas, you're required to have a minimum 5,000 litres of water retained for firefighting, although that's about to increase soon under the new planning scheme to 10,000 litres. But it also needs to be accessible. Our fire trucks have suction hoses that are only about 3 or 4 metres long, so that's how close we need to get the truck to the water to be able to get to it. And you need to have the right sort of fitting, which for us is a 50mm male camlock. So if you want to talk to us more about that, come and see us. You see our house here on this side of the hill, we had a pile of timber next to it. A lot of the time people tend to stack up firewood or timber next to their house. what it's done, instead of the fire simply passing by and only having a short time where it's impacting on the house, this house has got a constant exposure over a longer period because we've got this big pile of timber that's burning there. Okay, and what that's doing is that, if you've got a big pile of timber right next to your house, that could burn for the next few hours, it could burn for a couple of days, depending on how big it is. And we're not going to be able to put it out with the amount of water we carry. So it's something you need to make sure you actually have those sort of flammable materials well away from the house. So hopefully our little demonstration has given you some pointers and some ideas, and if you're going to be protecting your home, some of the things you need to look at. Feel free to come and chat to our guys afterwards, and we're happy to have a talk to you and give you some pamphlets and information. Also, if you're on Facebook, our brigade is on Facebook, and we do put notices up about fires in the area and what we're getting up to as a brigade. So feel free to jump on Facebook, find us on there and like our page so you can keep updated regarding bushfire in the local area. Thank you very much everybody, I hope you enjoyed our demonstration.